My brethren and sistren of the Agora, gather round this veritable symposium of cerebrations and cogitations as we delve into the labyrinthine musings of comedic gadfly Corey Holcomb vis-a-vis his vociferous refusal to entangle himself romantically with one Angela Reese, stalwart of the WNBA.
We'll say about Corey Holcomb. Now, this is something that I can't help it. I haven't been around a woman who wears a costume every day. I don't think I could be around a woman who puts on hair, eyelashes, foundation, and lipstick every time she's seen in public. I can't do it because I haven't had to get used to that. And I be thinking about that. I'm like, it don't be that type of hair around. I was around a girl who had the hair everywhere and I couldn't stand her for that.
Man.
I was like, what is this? Is you through with this? We'll put it in the garbage then.
You threw with this? Like, yeah. Oh my God. Oh yeah, it was. And
my homeboy,
that just happened.
His girl
okay.
is sick. Found out she got cancer.
Oh man.
Oof.
Bad, right? And somebody did something to her. Like she was in the street by bad guys. So on top of that, on top of her having this illness, she got us in the street. This is where I'm going with this. Cause they, when she got us, she was unconscious and they took her ID. So she was in the hospital under a Jane Doe. When they finally found out who she was a week and a half later, and he went up to the hospital, he went in the room where she was at and came back out and was snapping at the people at the front desk. Stop playing with her, it's my lady. And they said, that's her. Cause she had all of the hair, eyelashes, makeup, everything off. He didn't recognize her.
That's wild, yeah.
Are you in a position where if your girl didn't have on all that, especially, when you're in the hospital, you really ain't got on all that. Would people know who she is? Would you know who your girl is if she didn't have on all of the costume accessories that she wear every day? This is something that people really need to try and think about. You should tell your girl, I gotta at least see who you are once a month.
Wow, that's crazy.
Once a month, I just gotta look at you with nothing on for a day so I know how you look.
Like, that's crazy that somebody could be with somebody for a month and not really know how they actually look. Like,
somebody say you lying.
How did you meet them? Like, how did you meet them? Without? That's
no. I'm saying if you think about it, most people never see their girl without all of the costume accessories.
Some people actually sleep. Some of them sleep with stuff on, like
That's
their
wild.
hair done, their makeup on.
They empty garbage like that. They go swimming like that. They be at 24-hour fitness in full costume. You don't even know how your woman looks sometimes. Somebody say that sounds made up. Sad that you think it's made up.
What?
Cause the homie found out his girl not only had cancer, she got robbed. And she was unconscious because they robbed her and she got hurt. This is serious. She got hurt. It's serious. Like, it's bad. But I guess people think I'm trying to make a joke out of this. I'm not trying to make a joke out of it. I thought it was sad that he didn't know that was her. He thought they sent him to the wrong room.
Right.
Cause she didn't have on nothing. She was just how she looked and in the hospital hurt. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's cold.
So I'm saying, like,
they took her wig and everything.
They took all that. She was a Jane Doe in the hospital.
That's cold, man.
So, the doctors be happy, especially if you got a head injury.
Right.
They was like, take that off.
That's cold.
So she was just sitting there. And you know what? I'm going to say it. When her people came in, what's the first thing she said?
What?
Where my makeup?
Oh,
man.
jeez. Well, you know what?
I'm talking about in the hospital. Soon as she realized people was in there, she said, where my makeup?
Yeah, that's wild.
I just can't be in no situation like that. Well, okay, if you're going to wear makeup,
Folks,
you got to
what did
let
I
me
tell
see
you
how you look
about
sometimes.
What did I tell you about the karmic wheel?
This was my...
Well, that's different. Come on, Dad.
You look like homie off the air up there.
Everything changes when they're dead. All that rigor it's
Somebody said they took the wig and everything. That's right. She had a
That's different.
head injury. So, of course, they pull all that off to get to the wound. And on top of that, by her being in the hospital a week and a half, the makeup and everything is off.
Yeah, buddy.
They took all that. Imagine how some of these women look without the eyelashes, foundation, lipstick, and the hair. So the point I'm trying to make is, if you're in costume every day, you're lying in a way where you can cause confusion when people really need to know who you are.
Let us plunge headlong into this miasma of aesthetic critique and ontological inquiry, adorned as it is with a tapestry of Greek and Latin profundities, stitched together by the resplendent absurdities of our social zeitgeist. Holcomb, with all the bombast of a pre-Socratic rhetorician hopped up on ambrosia, posits a query of Aristotelian proportions. Is the quotidian adornment of cosmetic embellishments a harbinger of societal dissonance? His commentary, rich with the effervescence of hyperbole, alleges that perpetual costuming renders the self obfuscated, a simulacrum of authenticity masked beneath the veneers of modern macquillage. One must ask, does this perpetual masquerade engender a sort of Platonic cave, where the true self is relegated to shadow and illusion? In his florid recounting, Holcomb speaks to a scenario so labyrinthine in its absurdity that it borders on the Aristophanic. A damsel bedraggled by dual misfortunes, assault and ailment, finds her visage stripped of its quotidian artifice, leaving her unrecognizable even to her paramour. Here lies the crux of Holcomb's grievance. How can one forge a true bond when the face one knows is but a chimera, a construct of synthetic lashes and mercurial lipsticks? His rhetoric dances upon the precipice of comedy and tragedy, a Dionysian revel wherein identity and perception are inexorably intertwined. Holcomb's musings reverberate with echoes of Heraclitean flux. The self is in constant transformation, yet the illusory permanence of cosmetics imposes a static facade. The comedic philosopher laments that such transformations, while quotidian, become so pervasive as to render the wearer unrecognizable in moments of vulnerability. Is this not a form of existential deception, he asks, whereby the cosmetic artifice becomes a perpetual state of being, obscuring the eudaimonia of self-acceptance? The societal implications of Holcomb's musings cannot be dismissed as mere jest. His critique of the costume speaks to a broader cultural phenomenon, the commodification of beauty, the relentless pursuit of the unattainable ideal, and the resultant alienation of the authentic self. In a world saturated with filters and Photoshop, where the visage is a battleground for societal validation, Holcomb's lamentations take on a quasi-Socratic urgency. Who are we, he asks, beneath the wigs, the foundation, and the interminable accoutrements of aesthetic augmentation? Yet, Holcomb's critique is not without its contentious elements. In framing this issue as one of deceit, he risks lapsing into a dialectical myopia, ignoring the agency and autonomy of individuals who choose to adorn themselves. Is it not possible, one might counter, that such adornments are an expression of libertas, a reclamation of the self against the homogenizing forces of societal expectations? Holcomb's failure to entertain this possibility leaves his argument perched precariously upon the scaffold of unilateralism. His proposed solution, a monthly unveiling, an epiphany of the unadorned self, resonates with echoes of Diogenes the Cynic, a call to strip away the artifices of civilization in pursuit of a purer, more authentic existence. Yet, this too smacks of an overreach, a prescriptive ideal that fails to account for the myriad ways in which individuals navigate their identities in a complex and multifaceted society. Holcomb's anecdote, with its grotesque humor and tragic undertones, serves as a modern parable for the discontents of aesthetic capitalism. The unrecognizable partner, rendered alien by the absence of her costume, becomes a symbol of the alienation wrought by a culture that prizes appearance over substance. Yet, even as Holcomb critiques this phenomenon, he inadvertently reinforces the very standards he seeks to dismantle, perpetuating a narrative that conflates authenticity with physical appearance. In examining the broader implications of Holcomb's argument, one must grapple with the epistemological underpinnings of identity itself. If the self is a construct, a tapestry woven from the threads of social, cultural, and personal influences, then the act of adornment is no more or less authentic than the naked face. Holcomb's lamentations, while poignant, fail to reckon with the fluidity of identity in an era where the boundaries between the real and the artificial are increasingly porous. As the discourse spirals into further obscurantism, one is left to ponder, is Holcomb's critique a genuine call for introspection, or merely a comedic caricature of societal anxieties? Perhaps it is both, a testament to the power of comedy to illuminate even as it obfuscates, to provoke thought even as it elicits laughter. In the end, Holcomb's musings are a kaleidoscope of contradictions, a Dionysian spectacle wherein the sublime and the ridiculous coalesce. His critique of costuming is at once a condemnation of societal artifice and a reflection of his own biases, a mirror held up to a culture that is itself a hall of mirrors. Whether one agrees with his perspective or dismisses it as hyperbolic claptrap, one cannot deny the profundity of the questions he raises: who are we beneath the masks we wear? And in a world where appearance is everything, what does it mean to be seen? The WNBA, emblematic of women's professional basketball, has long been a crucible of athletic excellence overshadowed by the societal paradoxes of gender and visibility. While the league showcases viribus et virtute, strength and skill unparalleled, it often finds itself mired in the quagmire of unequal appreciation, relegated to the periphery of mainstream sports discourse. Holcomb's anecdotal critiques, though comedic, intersect with broader narratives about the visibility and public image of WNBA players, who are frequently scrutinized not just for their performance on the court but also for how they navigate identity, aesthetics, and cultural expectations of it. Indeed, the WNBA operates at the confluence of athletic prowess and societal paradigms. Players are simultaneously venerated for their tenacity and athletic skill, yet often subjected to reductive judgments rooted in antiquated notions of femininity. Holcomb's commentary inadvertently shines a light on these contradictions, raising questions about the pressures these athletes face to balance their professional identities with the superficial demands of public perception. This tension between virtus and venia underscores a deeper issue: the societal inability to fully embrace women athletes without forcing them to conform to a narrow, aestheticized mold.